Okay, let's rip our throats open talking about Evilswarm. You know, why not? Figured let's just get this over and done with, and then we won't have to worry about it. So, anyways, background of the deck. Obviously it's just your straightforward Evilswarm deck, none of that dino crap. It's not like my main deck. Like, obviously if you've seen me in my videos, then you know this already. But it is something that I have found to be interesting. It is something kind of fun that I did want to build and play on the side. It is a deck that I would definitely consider taking to a local if I wanted to, because it is a pretty good deck. So, you know, why not? Let's just get this over and done with, shall we? So to start off, we got, excuse me, hiccup. We got Triple Evilswarm Thunderbird. Basically, it's like wind-up rabbits, bigger, nastier, more messed up cousin in a way. Opponent's card or effect is activated. When a card or effect is activated, this can banish itself. Card Spectre in the very next standby phase, and it sits on 1950. 1950 beat stick is really, really good. Thunder King Watt. So, yeah, people will literally be going Thunder King Watt soon because, you know, Mistake is a card apparently. So, it's kind of cool. I would honestly prefer Thunder King over Mistake, just to point that out, because, you know, preventing searching and then having 1900 points on top of that's really good. But anyways, 3 Evilswarm caster. Best part about this thing that makes it so broken is that Effect Veiler is useless against this thing. Effect Veiler, Breakthrough, Skill, Fiendish Chain, Skill Drain to an extent, they're all useless against this thing. Because basically, the way it's ruled is that the moment this card is summoned onto the field, like literally the moment the monster is summoned onto the field, a condition is applied to the field that allows you to perform an additional normal summon of an Evilswarm monster. By the time the opponent drops Veiler, this condition has already been applied, because it happens at the exact point of the summon being successful, and Veiler goes off after this. So Veiler basically can't do it because it's too late. Activating Skill Drain, Breakthrough, or Fiendish Chain, they don't do any of that. That's pretty much the same thing. They can't stop that. Basically, the only thing that can stop this is something that negates a summon, or Skill Drain, but only if the Skill Drain is already on the board when Evilswarm caster is summoned. If Skill Drain is chained to caster, then the additional normal summon is still awarded. So that is basically that's pretty much how that whole thing works. Some people still don't understand the concept of this. I had some guy try to Veiler it the other day, and I just proceeded to continue on with my play because I knew for a dead set fact that Veiler was useless, and I was in a really shitty mood, so I just felt like making him waste his Veiler there and just say, well, no, because and he quit anyway after I stacked, because he was still wondering, you know, like how the fuck do you get your additional normal summon, but whatever. Anyways, 3 heliotropes. Vanilla, 1950. Apparently it's supposed to be a Gem Knight, but I don't see any real likenesses to a Gem Knight, but whatever. Yeah, it makes the rabbit plays live, which is really, really good for this deck. 2 Korakions. Ideally, this would be at 3. However, I don't actually have the third one yet, because, I would have the third one, but, you know, money. I obviously have other things to spend it on, like pizza. So, just two Korakions is not bad. Like, it's not the worst thing ever. It is possible to make the deck work with 2 Korakions, but for the consistency, 3 is definitely the best option, and I will definitely eventually be getting my hands on a third one so I can roll it in this deck. I don't know what to cut though, so that's still something that I'm sort of working on at the moment, but it's not too bad. Anyways, double Evilswarm Mandragora. Sort of like a Cyber Dragon, slightly more versatile because it special summons if the opponent has more monsters than you do. So you can have like a field with a couple of monsters, and then if your opponent's got a bigger field, then you could just drop this. 2 is fine because I want to see it, but I don't want to see it too often. 3 I feel makes it a little bit cloggy. So if I stick with the 2, it's basically just like I said. I want to see it because it's good, but I don't want to see it too often because this special summon allows first turn Ophion plays, especially turn 2. Especially if you're going second, rather. So, anyways, 2 tour guides. I was considering cutting these because I had these in the build before Curriculum came out, and I thought it was fair enough until such time as Curriculum did come out. I still feel like rank 3s can put in work in this deck, so that's why I've got the tour guides in there, and I'll elaborate more on the rank 3s once I get to the extra deck. But tour guides, they definitely know how to get some work put in this deck. Then we got rabbits. 2, run the 2 because you want to see them. You want to see it. Yeah, I know there's only you can only really learn to get it off once, but like I said, you want to see them, so just stick with the 2, and the other ones are 4 as well, so you could just stack it with any other 4 in your deck to make another Exceed monster. Then we got a Veiler because it's a Veiler. It's just kind of that. I would definitely consider max Cs, but the only two max Cs that I've got are in my E-Dragon deck, which has been under construction for far too long because Dracossack is just worth way too goddamn much. But the whole Dracossack thing won't be that big an issue now because I've got my ways to get my hands on at least 1. I mean, I'm happy with 1, but whatever. Spells. 3 Pandemic. Basically, Forbidden Lance on crack for Evilswarms, and not just Evilswarms, but Steel Swarms are a thing, even though nobody uses them, they are still a thing. But yeah, and it's searchable. That's one of the craziest things. It's quite easily searchable. It's insane to see this thing getting all of the hype. And apparently some people swear by the fact that 2 is the perfect number to run it at. No, just no, sir. It's 3. 3 is brilliant. Because, like, you run the same number of cards. Basically, you run a 40-card deck with 3 Pandemics. That's 1 less card that you draw later on in the game. If, when you search all 3 of them out, that's 1 less card that you have to worry about drawing later on in the game when it might actually hurt you. So, every opportunity to deck thin is really, really helpful. 2 Forbidden Dress to back up the Pandemics, because Blaster's a thing and Raiko's a bit of a thing. Those sorts of things can be a bit annoying if you're protected by a pandemic and then it's just like, oh hey, look, you've been like Raiko'd, so get out. But yeah, Dress is there. Obviously, you can't combine Dress and Pandemic because then Pandemic is just going to wipe Dress out, and then you can just be hit by it. But point has been proven. So Rotor searches out your casters to make those plays. So if you don't open up with a caster, then this is basically a 4th caster. So that's just how that works. MST, just the 1. Didn't have the room for the other 2 there on the side. Then we got Heavy Storm, Dark Hole Monster Reborn, the Triforce of spells. And then for the traps, we have 1 Infection. I did have 2 of these, but in all honesty, 1 is perfectly fine. One does the trick. I could easily throw the 2nd in because like deck thinning reasons, but it's not really that big a deal. So. Like Siege Reborn, this is one of those. This is basically a card that I would consider to be a Salt Factory. The reason for this is the opponent plays like something like a Miracle Fusion, chain this, get that back on board. The opponent gets pissed. Salt Factory, a very big Salt Factory as well. because it screws over so many high level plays. And you know, Excesia Reborn, when they're trying to go for like a redox effect to bring back a big monster, or if you're using a stream, or if you're using a baby dragon effect to ditch out a big dragon, or a big dragon effect to bring itself out, you just drop this massive salt factory and then just be like, haha. Miracle Fusion in itself is a massive salt factory as well. I did this against 6 Samurais, but that's not the time to discuss it. But anyways, Dark Illusion. Now, you could always throw in a third dress here. The thing is, though, this has one advantage over dress in that you could play this against something like a blaster with your Ophion wrapped up in an infestation pandemic. That's the one advantage it does. Dress does not. Dress cannot do that because Ophion will be unaffected by dress if it's under a pandemic. This can still kick some ass. So, for example, like especially against something like a Caius, if the opponent drops a Caius, you can just be like, haha, screw that over. It's a very, very useful card. You know, if you want to run 2 of those, give it then by all means. I've only got the 1, so it's fine. And D Prison, you know, without a second Dark Illusion, it gives me the freedom to run this, and it's a good card. It puts in work. It's a D Prison. You can't expect much more from it other than annoy the shit out of the opponent annoy the shit out of someone who runs Dracosac. Just be like, haha, get out. 2 Compulse, 2 Bottomless, and 2 Torrentials. Those are all pretty much standard. They just wreck a whole lot of face, disrupt plays, blah blah blah. Torrential Tribute, after the opponent's been a numbnuts and and just decided to go ahead and commit to his board, so they're all good salt factories as well. And then we got the Triforce of counter traps. You know, they do shit. And Huge Rev is actually much more justified in this than it is in Elite Beat Hero, because this deck, you have an Ophion and you do a Starlight Road, where's your Stardust? Can't drop it. So Huge Rev is definitely much more justified in this, because that way you can just basically like, haha, your Storm's been banished, haha, like your Dark Hole, whatever, blah blah blah. Anyways, extra deck. Start off with the ace himself, Ophion. Level 5 or higher monsters cannot be special summoned so long as this thing has an overlay unit on it. That makes it busted as all hell. It's just like, oh hey, dark monster, I'll use a Scurried Out. No you won't, I have an overlay unit. Can't even Super Poly. That's the thing. That's one thing that kind of ticked me off when I first heard about Ophion, is that I couldn't Super Poly this thing. Well, unless I had it negated with like a Veiler or something, but also searches out an infestation spell or trap when you detach an overlay unit. 25-50 beats. This thing is brilliant. Once again, it's one of those cards where you can get away with running 2, but I felt 3 was just absolutely necessary. It was just absolutely needed. It is pretty much the heart and soul of the deck, the Ophion, so why not roll it at its maximum? It's pretty much the same thing with Elite Beat Hero and Miracle Fusion. Why run less than the maximum? So for other Evilswarm XCs, we've got a Roboros, just banish something from grave, blah blah blah, just big thing with 3 level 4s. Bahamut, mini big eye, small eye, I guess you could call it. Evilswarm Thanatos, just like chain, let's like detach, and Caius does not hurt this thing. But Caius can just run over because it's only 2350. Unless you dress it. Then Nightmare. Nightmare is like the ugly duckling of all the Evilswarm Exceeds. It's a super, whereas all the others are secrets. And then this is obviously clearly the least used one. Basically what it does is, it's a 1950 wall, which, not the greatest thing ever, but it'll do. Opponent special summons a monster, detach an overlay unit, and that monster is instantaneously booked. It's very, very nice. And the person I bought the third copy of Ophion from gave me one of those for free and apparently said that it works on Pleiades. It's just like, how, sir, does that work on Pleiades? It's weird like that, but yeah. Okay, Shockmaster. It's a Shockmaster. You know, if you can get 3/4s on the board to drop in a Roboros, then why not drop Shockmaster? As a matter of fact, Shockmaster is probably the more likely result that you'd go into, because, like, it's an awesome card. You can't deny this. Anyways, Maestro, once again, defensive option. Abystrella, it's a thing. Cowboy. Cowboy is a card. And Pearl. Pearl is likely to get cut out for a Master Key Beetle. I'm still quite astounded that Master Key Beetle is a super. Yes, it's going to attract a fair bit of money because of how good it is, especially in Evilswarm, where you can rack up a lot of face with the whole dark related thing, and you can do virus plays with it, but oh well. It means it's not that hard. It means it won't be incredibly bullshit hard to pull, like a super rare Star Eater or something like that, so I'll have to see what happens. You know, and if I luck out and pull it from my packs at the sneak peek, if I do get in, but then that's even greater. Okay, rank 3s. Zen Mines. It is a defensive option. There's not much more I can say about this. Giga Brilliant. When the opponent is playing Evilswarm, and they see that I'm playing Evilswarm, they basically see this as going to be, okay, this is fair enough then. They then see me drop this, and then they proceed to salt right up because, okay, you have Ophion. Mine's bigger. Mine just is bigger. Giga Brilliant must never ever be doubted, in my opinion. It can put in so much awesome ass work when people least expect it. It's just like Chaos Dragons versus Dino Rabbit. I saw this one match at locals. I think I told the story before, but basically this thing helped a Gauze get over a Field of Light Pulsar and Darkness Metal. That's a lot. So, yeah. Anyways, finishing off Leviair, because you're going to be banishing a bunch with Kurikion and... yeah, Kurikion. You're not going to do anything with, yeah, you're not going to do anything with frickin' Thingamabob now, are ya? But anyways, yeah, Rescue Rabbit, like I said. Anyways, moving on. Side deck. Double Evilswarm Praise Valk. Now, the idea for this thing came from because I saw a couple of deck lists, I think for like Polish Nationals or something, Evilswarms. I think 4 Evilswarms came in top 8 at that national. And a couple of them ran Azathoth in the side deck. Azathoth, if you don't know, is a flip effect. Yeah, pretty sure it's flip effect. Yeah, flip effect. Targets one special summon monster to the field, sends it back to the deck. This I feel is a little bit more versatile. It is a flip effect, like Azathoth, but what it does is it targets one face-up card the opponent controls and returns that target to the hand. Now, if they're siding in Azathoth to deal with stuff like Big Eye or Dracossack or anything like that, this, you might as well stick with these, because you could not only... because they'll do the same thing, they'll send those monsters back to the extra deck, but if you're having to deal with other monsters that your opponent has on the board, you can easily bounce them back to hand. Like, if your opponent's just committed the tribute something a big monster, they hit this, it goes back to the hand, and they're going to cry about it. It's going to hurt. Plus, of course, if you have this set on your field during your turn, you can flip it up, send, like, you know, if they've got a Raw Decree on board, bounce that back. Macro can sort of hurt this deck, except not fully, but you can bounce that back if you need to. It's not too bad. It's pretty good. Then we got double Kaiku, because, yeah, you don't, because, once again, banishing, not particularly the best thing that you want to do, unless you're banishing 2 monsters from the opponent's graveyard with this thing's effect. Really nice. 2 MSTs, yeah, the other 2 MSTs, just for those matches where you need to pop shit. Then 1 Forbidden Chalice. I had 2 of these. Decided to stick with 1 because it was just, yeah, it's just kind of there. And to finish off, Double E-Rads. Don't have any deck devs. I think I've got a couple going spare, so I might be able to try to fit these in. But for now, I've just got the E-Rads because they deal with Prophecy. Prophecy are annoying. Jargon, please get banned. 2 Mind Drain. Would have Soul Drains, but I've only got 2 of those, and they're an Elite Beat Hero. 2 Goes in Match, because I had these and I really wanted to use them because they were good, and then I was just like, okay, you know what? Use them in Evilswarm. Evilswarm's not going to get hurt that much by them. And then Imperial Iron Wall, you know, to deal with more banishing sort of shit, because E-Dragons are fucking annoying. Well, when playing against them, they're pretty damn awesome when you actually play them yourself. Not so much awesome when people like have a go at you for using a deck that takes no skill. Which is a load of bullshit, I can tell you that much right now. It does take some sort of skill, even like against a bunch of other decks. It really does. I've experienced this myself, and I know this. So yeah, that's the Evilswarm deck. I just threw it back on my deck box. So we'll just end with that. Yeah, see you for whatever it is I do next.